And welcome to the podcast. Be
Thank
Valentine. I'm singing. Whenever I have singers, I start da 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 da. It's like out of habit. I don't know why. Hi, girl.
you know,
Hi.
it's like going to another country. You start, well, at least I do. You start picking up the accent of wherever it is that you are. So it's kind of like that. I get it.
And
I
you've been
get
a lot of places, so we may hear lots of different accents, but welcome. How are
Thanks.
you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a lot going on, but I am good. And today is a really special day for you, and we're going to dig more into that cuz I don't know, I might find it even more special just because I have more context, but I want to spend this next half hour, 40 minutes, the listeners really getting to know you,
Hmm.
um particularly at this juncture of life, because this is the finding your voice after 40 and you're just hitting this 40 space, doing new things and things. So I'm
Hmm.
excited to really dig into it. But before we really get kind of in that, I'm going to read to you something. I just want you to relax. And I
Okay.
just want you to take it. I want you to take it all in, and then we'll get into it. So,
Okay.
all right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Um, Formerly gracing stages as Baskerville Jones, soul singer B. Valentine is known for her dynamic style and high energy performances as the former lead singer for soul jazz, or really as the lead singer for soul jazz funk fusion band The Rebirth, but no longer a part of The Rebirth prior to her departure in 2016. She later recorded a solo album entitled Mile One under the name Baskerville Jones. And for over 2 decades, she's collaborated with many artists. And y'all wait till you hear the artists. Yes, so let's keep going. And producers as a songwriter, background vocalist, and featured artist. She performed live as a background vocalist for contestants on the TV show America's Got Talent, and arranged, that's important, highlight, the girl don't just sing, and arranged and recorded background vocals for 4 seasons of the show. Her voice can be heard in the background on other shows such as Britain's Got Talent and The X Factor UK. B. Valentine has appeared on stage and recorded with an eclectic mix of artists, including Jeffrey Osborne, Mesa, Kenny Lattimore, Valerie Simpson, Denise Williams, Freddie Jackson, Heather Headley. Yep, I'm going to keep going. And Chrisette Michelle. Also, gospel artists including BB Winans and Dottie Peoples, and jazz artists including Dave Koz, Richard Elliott, Rick Braun, Jonathan Butler, and Peter Wife. And she has performed music in 4 different languages, hence what she was saying linguistically a moment ago. But today, literally, B. Valentine releases her new single, EP, Lovin You, to raise funds to raise breast cancer awareness and support breast cancer patients. The release hits sound waves during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October, and honors the song's original singer songwriter, Minnie Riperton, who lost her battle with breast cancer in 1979. I could keep going, but I am not because I want to give you space. How did that feel hearing me read that to you?
Uh, you know, I think in women as in general,
Mm.
we have the tendency to, we blush, we flutter, we flush and just kind of step back um when you put the accolades in front of us. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
it's a it's a strange thing. It's a strange feeling because I feel like men don't do this as often as women
Yeah.
do because they're like, yeah, that's me. I did that.
Literally, we've had guests say it just like that who are male. So yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh.
And for me, it's like, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice. Oh, that's me. Oh,
Oh, okay.
you
Right.
know. No, I'm proud of the work that I've done over the span of my life. We are I'm always striving to be better, to do more.
Mhm,
So I
mhm,
think like at this stage of my life, I'm in a place of forgiving myself for the things that I wanted to do
mm.
that I hadn't done.
Yes.
and
Yes.
accepting where I am and
Yes.
really putting all of my energy and time into that so that it has an opportunity um, to fulfill what it is that my, that purpose for that thing
Yes.
may be.
Yes. Well, that was incredibly eloquent. And so I mean, I think what you started about women versus men, energetically, how when we hear about ourselves and how do we accept it versus celebrate it versus it's not such a big deal. But I think coming to this point of life, yes, I hope you're giving yourself the flowers and the compassion and the celebration. And
Hmm.
I mentioned in reading that and at the time of recording, because we pre-record our episodes, but you literally released the music today, which
Right.
for you though, and on top of this, it has been a journey. And that's what I want to, this podcast, yes, we could go into all of the beauty of being an entertainer and all of that. But I want us to peel back a bit more so that listeners, whether they're artists or not, have a sense of inspiration and wanting to still keep chasing big dreams even after this stage of life.
Hmm.
So I want to we're gonna go backward, but before we go backward, how does it feel? We before we pushed record, I said, "How you feeling, girl?" So how is it feeling? And this is a big song because Minnie ain't no joke. Okay, she's Minnie. She's that woman. So how
Yeah.
is it feeling on release day with this music?
Yeah. It feels good that it's
Mhm.
real. I can
Mm,
go to Spotify. I see the
yeah.
cover art there,
Yeah.
iTunes or whatever. Like I can see it. It's real. It's
It's
out
real.
there. Like
Yes.
all the work that I've done to this point, it's I mean, there's more work to do, obviously,
Yeah.
but you know, it's done. It's happening. And um it's you have to be I have to be conscious to pull over and take that moment and really reflect on why. Um,
Mm,
and Minnie is very special to me. Minnie Riperton is very special to me. And, I admire her ability, her range. I admire her entire being.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that, she really exuded a lot of things that are admirable for me as a woman.
Mhm. Mhm.
With, of course, like just the beauty, the sincerity, the authenticity, the the um the subtle and blatant
Yeah.
sexuality,
Yes.
but
Let's put a
classy.
pin right there. Yes. Oh my gosh. A lot of people don't talk about that. And I don't know if I've actually, and I've studied Minnie. Listen, I am a Minnie. I love Minnie
Hmm.
Riperton, and beyond her music, just like what you're explaining about her, and
Hmm.
her sensuality and her sexiness in this so beautifully kind of not under the red because it's there, but it's not.
It's
Yeah,
not tasteless. It's very
yeah,
tasteful the way that
yeah,
she presents it, and it's very natural too. It's
yes,
not forced. It's not
yes,
raunchy. It's not,
yes,
it's very feminine
yes, yes.
and open. And I love that about her. It's funny.
Hmm.
I was watching an interview, and it's all in about like her breaths, the
Hmm.
pauses, the volume of her voice, the roundness or just the shape of like everything.
Yeah,
Also in
yeah,
her music too. But I was
yeah.
watching a particular interview. I don't remember the show, and she was talking about when she was shooting the um the cover art for one of her albums
Oh, yes,
with
with the
the
tiger or
with
the
the
lion.
tiger.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, and how the tiger just pounced on her. Like it wasn't the one that she was familiar with, so she was okay with reshooting this cover for, I think it was maybe for a commercial, but this particular
Yeah.
one ended up pouncing on her in the
Mhm.
middle of the shoot. And she kind of felt that it was going to happen. It was crazy. But
Yeah.
the host asked her, like, who was the first person to help to get between you and this Tiger. Was it a
Yeah.
lion?
I think it
Tiger.
was a tiger, I think.
A lion,
Yeah, yeah.
a big scary
Yeah,
animal.
it was a big yeah, it wasn't
It's
normal.
like
So, yes.
450-pound
Yeah. Yeah.
animal that
Right.
came at this. I don't know how much she weighed, but not that.
Not right.
Um, and so the guy asked, "So who was the first person on the scene?" And she says, "My husband." You know, I can't even replicate how she said it, but
Yeah.
it just gave me chills, like goosebumps when she said that. She said she meant
Yes.
that.
Yes.
She meant that, and it
Yeah.
just told a big story about like what she feels about him, like how secure she feels in their
Yeah.
relationship, and
Yeah.
just how proud and how connected
Absolutely.
they are. So yeah,
Girl, we
I
could
love
do the
her.
whole listen, we need to do a podcast episode on Minnie because
Yes.
everything you said, totally, I mean, 3,000,000%. I've seen that interview, and I
Yeah.
was just sharing literally with my sister, the connection she had with her husband was incredible, and we have to remember, this was the '70s, '60s, '70s, she was with her husband
Mhm.
who, is white and she's black, and, I mean, we're talking a very different time, and she was, like, I mean, they both were like, "No, we're all about this," very
Yeah.
committed, so okay,
Yeah.
all right, so like I said, we go on all about me. But I'm so happy you're doing Minnie's music because
Yeah.
Minnie is who Minnie is, it's intimidating as singers to
Mhm.
approach her because she does have so much unique individual things. But she's
Mhm.
such a powerful artist, and to keep her music going, to keep it moving and through the generations so that other
Mhm.
generations are exposed to who she is through your voice, through others who want to, come in, and her music has been sampled a lot, like in Q-Tip,
Mhm.
and then they've pulled, to kind of carry it on. But I just want to
Yeah.
congratulate you on that. So we
Thank
will be
you.
putting in the show notes how people can listen to your interpretation and beauty, and also, so now we're gonna go, let's talk about B. Um
Mhm.
and particularly the younger B in her 20s as an artist, and maybe share with our audience, was music something you always like, yep, this was the goal, or did this pop up? When did music show itself to you that in fact, yep, this is something I'm going to really pursue seriously?
Mhm. I think I've had a winding path. Um, it was not music was not the thing that I wanted to pursue immediately.
Mhm.
So if we're looking back to my 20s, so I'm in college and
Mhm.
I was in school for accounting and music.
Oh,
So
wow.
the contrast there already
Right.
was, a challenge.
Yeah.
But I had a very entrepreneurial spirit. And so I wanted to make sure that even though, okay, I loved music and I knew I loved music, yes.
Mhm.
But I wanted to make sure that I nurtured the other side of me too, the business side of me too in that time. Um, and also you have the feedback in your ear. You got to have a
Yep.
backup plan. You got
Yep.
what if this music thing doesn't work out? That
Right.
that's a
It's a
whole other
real thing.
conversation.
That's another one, but I
Yeah,
mean, we all have it, and those of us who have children, tempting not to, make them into who they're not, but yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So back then, I was very much into church. Growing
Okay,
up, I was born and raised in Nashville, in Tennessee.
okay.
Um, and so it's the Bible Belt. So like a lot of things that I did outside of school was really just church. I was going and
Mm,
basically touring a lot of different churches in the southeast of the U.S. So like, I mean, you have Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida,
yeah.
Arkansas. Like we were all around there, just visiting churches
Mm.
uh, for free.
For
Um,
free. So you're also being conditioned to do this for free. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
there was a lot. Well, I mean, it felt good to participate in the services.
Right.
So that wasn't a bad thing. But after you do it for so much time and you still are needing to make a way for yourself. Those love offerings weren't quite adding up to
Right.
what you needed it to be.
Right.
Um,
Right.
um, you get burned out.
Absolutely.
You get burned out, and
Absolutely.
that's what happened for me.
Mhm.
I was burned out in my 20s.
Mm.
So
Because
I
you had
did.
been singing since you were little, since you were really young. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I could show you
yeah.
a picture later of me 2 years old with a microphone uh,
Oh my
in front of my in front of
gosh.
my dad's. This is back when my mom and dad were together, but
Yeah,
in front of my dad's amplifier.
yeah.
And I've got videos from the 90s where like I'm in the tabernacle singing with the kids
Yep.
choir in
Uh,
front of the kids choir. Yeah,
yeah,
so I've been singing for a long time.
yeah.
Um, so in my 20s, it was really about discovering what opportunities were available. It was really about finding my way to be independent,
Mm,
so
mhm,
that I
mhm.
could really make my own path.
Right.
And so after leaving college, I went to LA. I moved to LA with
Mhm.
my accounting degree, my master's in accounting.
And a
and,
master's.
and
Oh, at that point, okay, yeah, so you went far with it. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
uh-huh,
yeah. So I got
yeah,
my master's in accounting,
yeah.
and I did. The focus was music business because, like I said, I was burnt out. So like I didn't want to be an artist per se.
Right, right.
Um, so at that point, I decided that I wanted to be more of a business manager.
Okay.
So I was still going to be in the music industry. That
That's
was the
the other
plan.
thing we do. Let's kinda etch around it. Yeah, so that yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
because I was
mhm.
still loving music. I still appreciated the art.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to support people who did have the gift and the drive to be out front in that way. So when I moved to LA, I started working for one of the big accounting firms. It's like
Mm,
the natural path for an accountant.
yeah.
Started working at one of the big accounting firms, and I tried my best to like stay in the entertainment on the entertainment side of things. So like
Yeah.
I got to do like counting the ballots for the Grammys and like working with the
That's
Grammys, working
creative.
with
Yes, yeah,
William
yeah.
Morris Agency.
Mm,
So a lot of like high tier clients that were kind of entertainment. I mean, they're
mhm.
entertainment, but not necessarily the art.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
so after years of doing that, I realized like something's missing.
Missing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something's missing, I found myself in burnout mode again because I was, I was doing that,
Yeah,
and that's a labor of love in itself. I did
mm,
enjoy it, uh,
yeah.
but there was still something missing for me, and I started singing with people. I found, independent artists, started
Mhm.
singing with them, um, just to kind of see if that was that thing. And
Right, right.
quickly I discovered that it was. And
Yeah.
it got to a point where it's like, oh, I'm doing more music now than I am accounting. So I
Mhm,
had to make
mhm.
a decision at that point, like, well, what do I
Yeah.
want to do with this thing? And there's so many things to do in the
Oh my
music business.
right. And as a creative, I try to tell people, because people will I get it, because I listen, everything you're saying is resonating with me because, it's like, let me
Hmm.
just go do this other part of my brain, which is that more analytical and, and then depending on your, risk aversion or not, like practicality, like let me do that. But then that's not
Right.
enough because as a creative, that's still buzzing. But I'm also telling you, you're also a creative. So there's a lot of different, even though yes, in music there's a lot, but even on
Yeah.
top of that, you're creative, so you can even think of a lot beyond that. So it can become a really a lot of things that you're ciphering, trying to kind of figure out which lane to kind of
Yeah.
stick in. Yeah, as a
Yeah.
result. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, those who have followed your music career have gotten to know you through, I mean, there was a plethora of things that you did, and I don't know, you can tell me, out of the things you did, what was there a pivotal moment in music? Like you said, you were singing around with different people. What for you was the pivotal thing? And at what point, because we are etching up to this 40, but what point in life was that pivotal? What was the pivotal thing that kind of was like, okay, no, this music is serious versus, just going around? And how close were you to the 40 point then?
I think probably at age, I think it's there's something about those decade years that just really get you in your feelings and in your brain, in your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's like, oh wait, 10 years just passed. Oh shoot. I I still have things to do. Like, is
Yeah.
this really what I want to do? Because I
Yeah.
swore that the end of my life was at the age 30. Like,
Really? That's what, because we don't see people doing stuff after 40, hence doing this podcast. So people
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, probably around the time that I turned 30 was the time that it was like, okay, accept that you're creative, you're an artist, you're like you can't stop
Yeah.
performing with people, writing with people, recording whatever it is that you're doing. Like you can't stop doing that. Like
Yeah.
that's just your nature. So like accepting that was
Mm.
more so around age 30, and like and trying to make it a serious thing to where like, okay, you don't need to be a part of the corporate America, because God has given you enough of your talent to
Mm.
sustain and provide what it is you need. Now, there's still a winding path with that.
Right.
We can revisit, but this is what I was feeling in my 30s.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
and so, I was working with the Rebirths, I'm
Mhm.
singing, performing with artists at. I was also doing backgrounds with artists, and we're
Mhm.
performing at like Nokia Theater or
Yeah.
Microsoft now, from the Greek Theater, really, large stages
Yeah.
that, just not any independent artist has access to.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and to be able to stand on those stages and watch it go down, you you realize, oh, this is possible, like this is available,
Right. This is really
and
available.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and while the artists that I'm working with, like they're great, they're amazing, but like they just put the time and energy into it
Right. Right.
in order
Right.
to be able to stand in that
Right.
position.
Right.
On top of them, yes, being talented, but they hone that talent and they hone the business around it too.
Right. Exactly.
So it's been a plug and play, a trial and error, for the last, you know 12 years or so, just trying
Yeah.
to find the right fit. um
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely want to go into that, because you're part of a series we do on the podcast called Art Voices Matter. And
mhm.
I come up with this, I know we've got a lot going on with matter. From Black Lives Matter, and now I guess we have White Lives Matter, with at the time that
Everything
we're
matters.
recording this, everything matters. But I years ago had said, artists are so misunderstood,
Mhm,
and what it takes behind the scenes to really get to the point at which people are really listening and enjoying and hearing your voice.
mhm,
And that there's another side of our voice happening that we're having
mhm,
to navigate. There's our performance voice, and those are our
mhm,
songs and our entertainment. But there's this other voice that we have to hold on to even sustain in the business, especially
mhm,
as women. And that is so important for people to begin, not just other artists, but for consumers, for fans, that's a part of the music appreciation, is to understand these other parts of our stories. And
Mhm.
so, like you said, still kind of going through the windy, obviously you're now just releasing this new single
Mhm.
after haven't released music for since when? How long has it been?
Oh, it's been almost 10 years now.
See, yeah. That's
It's been almost
huge.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so coming to this then like point of you took this 10 years. I want to talk a little bit about your mind body soul and your self-care and this, because I am hoping that through this podcast and through the things that I do now, we begin to not just see music for entertainment value but for
Mhm.
healing,
Mm.
and really start talking about it as such. I mean, I think we
Mhm.
all kind of know what music does to us and how we feel, but we don't give it
Mhm.
much space in the public space to talk about not only the healing of others, but what it does for us, as
Mhm.
artists. So,
Mhm.
what has, you took that break. Um, how has mind, body, soul been? How has self care been for you? Is this something you've always practiced, so that's not really changed, or is it something that you realized you had to do differently as you're now in this stage of life?
Yes.
She has a long pause, y'all, because some people are listening. They're like, "It did it. Is it still on?" Yes, it's still on. She's
Is this thing
reflecting.
on? Yes. If you're listening, I am still here. Um, and that's really been my state. Just that pause there.
Mm,
It's been
mm,
it's been an ebb and flow of moments of reflection.
mm,
Um, I think my upbringing has ingrained in me to go 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 do 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 do,
mhm.
and there really wasn't a whole lot. If I'm being honest,
Yeah,
there really wasn't a whole lot of space for conversations about how it's impacting you internally.
absolutely.
And so for the last some years, it's been a journey of discovering and defining um, what things really make me tick, and
Mm.
identifying those things that I need to remove myself from.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's not the taking care of myself and
Mhm,
holding into the mental, that has not always been something that I've been conscious of doing.
mhm,
Um, and I think, when you are in this constant motion, that constant state of motion, you you tend to just go numb
ooh, ooh,
for that time,
mhm.
and you really do neglect your yourself. Honestly, you
Absolutely,
even if you're doing great things,
absolutely.
you could be doing great. What everybody else thinks is great, but is
Yes,
it really what is feeding back into you internally?
absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you for the pause and breaking it down, because what you just said, like I want to like take that and plug it for everyone, because especially as Black women, especially, and I've had this, because I do coaching, with mostly women of diverse backgrounds.
Mhm,
I know it's at the forefront of my head because I'm constantly navigating that space, and then there's me, that I'm navigating. But I
mhm,
think this go, go, go and this achieve, achieve, achieve and this do, do, do is so tight. It goes back to what we were just saying at the beginning when I read to you your bio,
mhm,
and women never giving themselves the space
mhm,
to literally sit in to their worth. Not,
mhm,
it's like we're more active proving it, ensuring it that we're worthy, And not always just to others, but to ourselves, because we've now been conditioned to think that that is what equals our worth, when in fact,
Right.
right, right. But
Oh,
our
can you say
worth,
that again? Oh
I
my.
know, but this is the thing. Our worth was just coming, having breath. Immediately, there you are. You're worthy. That was it.
Right.
But I think
Right.
because of obviously the history for Black women, for people of color particularly, the trauma, the all of that. And so I just bring that all up, and this is why I asked you that question with how are you taking care of self, or what has that been like, because I'm hoping that, one, to give voice to artists, because I think people assume when you're an entertainer and you've got so much joy around you that, yeah, you got, it's hard to be, but you got the money, you got the this. And I just think so much gets lost, which is why we lose so many artists so young, because
Mhm.
they don't really have this space. Or it can manifest into our physical
Yeah,
health,
yeah, yeah.
which, I don't know Minnie Riperton's whole thing, but she died of breast cancer at a very young age. She did not make it to 40.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, I don't know how much people really realize that, how young she was and how much she did, in her youth, in terms of
Mhm.
music. So that self-care piece, is important.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I cannot believe, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh Lord, we already at the 30-minute mark. Okay, so this
I
is, I
know.
have a couple things before we're gonna switch to the bonus, um, that I really want, to kind of hear. What made you decide this is the time to do the music, to get back in it, release this song, and start moving in this direction of solo artist B Valentine?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, those decade years are really pivotal moments of reflection.
Hmm.
And I've put in a lot of energy, supporting a lot of dreams,
Yeah.
whether it's building a business for a company, whether it's supporting somebody, singing background for them,
Mhm.
whether it's doing their accounting and helping them get organized, situate themselves, whether,
Right, right.
and even with my husband,
Mm,
we've been married for 5 years now.
mm,
And
mhm.
so so my energy has really been trying to get situated in the marriage, like establishing like
Yeah.
what my voice is in this role. And um and my natural instinct is to, like I said, do go go go. And I, and but my, in my spirit, like I really wanted to support and watch him blossom too, as an
Mhm,
artist, as a producer, um,
mhm.
as a musician. And that's been beautiful. It's been satisfying
Mhm.
for me to see the evolution of him over the course of the last 5 years. And he's been able to get to the top of the Billboard charts in the smooth jazz
Yeah,
arena,
yeah,
and been able to do that on multiple occasions when he's recorded with artists. Like there's a lot of music that hit the top of
yeah,
the chart that he's participated in. So
yeah.
like just being able to see that growth, in him, it's been beautiful.
Right.
And having that time to reflect, it's like, oh, okay, now it's just time. It's time for me to
Yeah.
actually support what I support in other people.
In yourself.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay for me to support that in myself as well. And
absolutely.
doing that, it actually does give back. It actually does feed back and continue my desire to help and support and inspire other
Absolutely.
people as well. So it
Absolutely.
was really
Absolutely.
important for me to do that, at this stage in my life.
I love that. I love that. I love it. And I think you just gave a really good example of this pouring in our cup. This idea of us going and giving, if we have this cup of water and we keep pouring to everybody else, and
Mhm.
our that water's getting smaller and smaller. And now you got an inch to go give you. It's like, wait a minute. I
Yeah.
got an inch when I gave everybody else a full cup. Now I just have an inch or a drop left to give me. And so I just hope people really heard you say that, when you start filling up and giving to yourself, that overflow allows you to give back more because you've now
Right.
replenished.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's really
yeah,
important. And
yeah.
I have to give credit to my husband because he's really good at like reflecting that for me. You know,
Mm,
hey, what are you doing? Can we stop and celebrate what you just did? He
yeah.
just last night we had to go through this. We because I'm in my
Yep.
mind, I'm like, I gotta send out the email. I gotta make sure I gotta and oh man, I forgot. Oh, I gotta sleep.
God, I gotta sleep. I gotta eat. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like, how about you just sit here
How about that? Yeah,
for 5 minutes? So I think it's really good to surround yourself with people who do support you replenishing
absolutely.
your own cup.
Well, you've been a beautiful kind of, and I'm going to say this. I have one more question. I'm going to let you go, but I want the audience to know, and it's so funny. You reminded me in text, like, where did we meet again as artists? And I'm like, girl, I think we met on a cruise. You're like, no. And I'm like, really? And so then you were able to find the moment where we met.
Found it.
And yeah, and it was in another country, all the way in the UK at a really, at Soul Weekender, which was so huge, Southport, all that stuff was really wonderful. But
Mhm.
you came just kind of, it felt like out of the blue back in, I mean, us reconnecting. But what's been so beautiful is I can feel your overflow
Mhm.
because you are giving and you are, it's not like, okay, well, I got all this I can do for myself. I'm a hoard it right here. I can't talk to nobody. I can't. It's like I can feel your energy being one where your cup is full and you're seeing kind of the abundance out of it and not the scarcity of having to do all of this work, but the
Mhm. Mhm.
abundance. So,
Mhm.
huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And yeah. And so before I let you tell the people all the things of ways they can find you and follow you and listen to the music and so forth,
Mhm.
what are you most looking forward to at this stage of your life? Mm.
Being free.
Mm.
And I mean that in from a spiritual standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a financial
Mm.
perspective. I think that that's important, to really connect with what inst- instinctly, what inherently comes from within,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to act on that without without any roadblocks, without
Mm.
any hesitation. I
Yes.
think that's really important, and I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's a process, It's one of those things where you have to be conscious. It's like, I really want to do this, and then
Right.
2 seconds later, but you gotta do it. You've got these voices
Yeah.
in your head. They're like, uh, it's not a good time, or finding all the reasons why it's not something that you should do, and a lot of it is based on like what other people might think or feel
Mm-hmm.
as a
Mm-hmm.
result. And so it's accepting the fact that it doesn't mean that you don't care about other
Mm-hmm.
people
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
act in a way that doesn't immediately vibrate with them the way that
Mm-hmm.
you would hope.
So we need to underscore that, B, because I think this seriously, I think the 40 plus, 50 plus community, that people pleasing, that allowing, always trying to keep everybody else comfortable
Mhm.
while having no sense of where your comfort even sits.
Mhm.
It's just so important. Then freedom is life. Like that's, yeah, I'm with you. So, well, I
Yeah.
could go on and I can't because we don't have time. But I'm going to ask you to share with everyone how they can, one, follow you on social media, or if you don't, not everybody does, even artists, not everybody's all trying to be in the social media streets, but the best way to follow your music, and then anything else, and then also where they go to hear the new song, anything and any upcoming events that you want people to stay tuned for.
Yes. Well, I am on social media,
Mhm.
in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at B Valentine Love. So
LOVE.
LOVE. It's all about the
Hmm.
love. Um, and it just so happens that my last name is Valentine, so it just kind of works
Yes, it
together,
just
right?
works, girl. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So B Valentine Love. BValentine and my website is the same.
Awesome.
I do have Lovin You is released today, right?
Right.
So
And by
it's
the time
available.
people listen, that means it's out. So yes,
It's
it was
out.
released October 7th. So, but hopefully we're listening to this within the month of October. So yes.
Yeah, so Lovin You will be available on all streaming platforms. It's a single EP. It's two versions of Minnie Riperton's Lovin You interpretations by me and my husband Eric Valentine, the
Love it.
producer,
Love it.
and the one song is featuring nine-time Grammy nominee Dave Koz on
Yeah.
saxophone, which is amazing.
It's
It's
awesome.
already won. It was number one most added on Billboard this week.
Already. See?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited.
Congratulations. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yes,
Because I don't be sitting on in social media. So I've been
right.
kind of like sitting back. But I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say something about you and your interpretation. But keep going and then I'll keep my comment. I will say.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
yeah, so 11 years available, and also on October 29th, me and my team, we're going to be in Chicago, in Minnie Riperton's hometown,
Yes.
doing a walk, the Race for the Cure, hosted
Yes.
by Susan G. Komen organization, and we're raising funds to help end breast cancer, treat breast cancer patients, and just really be a voice, and raise the
Yeah.
awareness for breast cancer. So loving tip then that website is teamlovingyou.com to make donations, and I'm giving away free downloads of my music
Oh, I love
for
it.
everybody that donates. So
Oh, I love it. Okay, so yes, and by the time this airs, yes, people will still have time to do that and
yes,
contribute. And I'm looking forward to walking. I said, "Girl, we ain't running, are we?" But yes, no, we're
yeah, you're coming.
walking.
That's right. It's you are coming. You signed up. I'm
I
so
signed up.
excited.
I'm coming. I'm a walk.
Yes,
But
yes,
yeah, and I just wanted to say, like we had said, Minnie is, she's a beast. And so I think, you have amazing vocals. So I need everyone, listen, if you haven't heard B Valentine sing, if you didn't hear her with the rebirth, which you really were sleeping if you didn't. But anyway, amazing vocals. And so I think that your approach to this song is so beautiful and so much keeps the integrity of Minnie. And that,
mhm,
yes, hitting that note that I don't know what even note that is that she hits. I think people are always like, oh, well, you got to do, but no, but your integrity of just keeping it Minnie and but still you and showing up like this is my vocal and this is my honoring. I think it's always a dance when we cover people. But I think you've done an amazing job. So I want to just say congratulations. And I want everybody to go listen for themselves. It brings you back to Minnie, so that then you're gonna start pulling out your Minnie stuff. It's like if you're like me, I'm like, oh, but I want you to also not just pull Minnie, but look up, make sure you follow. And like I said, you've done some really wonderful work out there. So hopefully everyone will go backwards as well to check you out and continue to support you on the journey. So we're gonna wrap up, but I can't let you go until you tell us, do you have a theme song, Be Valentine, that's just your jam? It may be your jam for the week, for the month, or for a lifetime, but what's a song that's just like, I hear that song. It's my song. I know as an artist, this is hard. Hard.
this is really
It is
hard. Can I
hard. I
choose like
know.
five?
No. No. We're doing a playlist. So we're going to be putting your music. So Loving You will be on this playlist. We're still
Okay.
compiling it because we're a new podcast. So we're still getting all the guests and their things. But this one has to not necessarily be you. And it has to be one, please. If you can't get it down to one, then two.
Okay.
Some people have said two. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Loving You, I would say, since that's already going to be on there, I would say that that's probably one of them.
Yes. Oh, that's our we already got that. But if that's your theme song right now, we'll count that too.
That's
So
that. I mean, I think just loving you is. I mean, sure, it's a beautiful romantic expression of love. But Minnie wrote this song or started writing this song as more of a lullaby for her
yeah,
daughter, for her
daughter.
children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, in talking, actually, in talking with uh, breast cancer survivors,
Hmm.
they've interpreted this more as a um, a song of hope and a reminder of
Mm.
your beauty, your
Mhm.
internal beauty, your feminine, your
Mm.
feminine
Mhm.
being, your feminine presence. And when you have someone that's battling with breast cancer, you're it's almost like you're being attacked on what we've been programmed to believe
Yeah.
makes us the feminine a
Mm.
woman.
Girl, you gonna have us see, we gotta do part two. Seriously, because you're saying some really magical things and
Yeah,
yeah, in terms of what the song, the
yeah.
power of that song from the origin of it, the story behind how many did that song to how it serves women, this kind of full circle, the very thing that she transitioned from is the very that song is feeding women through their facing that
Mhm,
same
mhm,
situation.
mhm.
Okay, I will give you that. I will. Is there another any other theme song? Are you good? I'll let you have a second one if you.
I don't know how to pronounce her name, but
Okay.
there is a song that keeps coming up for me.
Okay.
Lauren, I think it's Lauren Daigle. I think that's how you say her last name. I
Oh,
like that. Yes, "You Say" is the name of the song.
you say? Okay,
Yes,
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have
yes,
to look it up. I don't think I know that.
yes. "You say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing." You
Oh,
say
okay.
what's yeah, it's really a song of a believing
Yeah.
that you are supported by something bigger than yourself.
Mm.
And in this case, it's God.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, I have it. I wrote it down, so we're good. Well, this has been amazing. If those who are listening, if this has really inspired you, because you've provided inspiration on a lot of levels, and we're gonna go into our bonus and
Okay.
have you actually give some advice as an artist, to others, whether you're artists or not. Obviously, a little bit of artist advice, tips for people who are trying to navigate this crazy world of the music business, but also
Mhm.
some tips to, those of us who are still trying to step into our creativity and our gifts and maybe having a bit more challenge with doing that at this stage of
Mhm.
life. So
Mhm.
that's what the bonus will be. So if you guys want to hear that, and I'm also going to ask her another surprise question. It's not really a surprise to her, but it'll be a surprise to you guys. But yeah, make sure you join our patreon.com/finding your voice, because that's the only way you get to hear the goods. So thank you. You are going to stay tight here, but I just want to say thank you for everyone else to hear my gratitude for you doing this on release day.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure
Absolutely.
talking with you, Kenya.
I love it. I love it. And I can't wait I'm going to be seeing you soon in person. So we'll do our own part two.
I'm excited.
Me too. Me too. All right, guys, we will be back next week. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right, bonus. All right, this is going to be quick. We only give
Okay.
10 minutes for the bonus. What are the tips as an artist, girl? Just give maybe 2 tips that you would give someone who is at this stage of life, who is doing music, attempting to do this. What is any advice you would give them to keep motivated in doing it? Because it can be hard. It can be really hard.
Trust your gut.
Mm,
Trust your gut. And let that be your guide. I know it sounds um very cliche, but it's real, literally
yeah.
real,
Yeah.
um, to a point where if you start doing things that are in conflict with what it is that you desire, and conflict that in conflict with the things that you're capable of, and where your spirit is really wanting you to navigate to, it will manifest in your body in a physical
Hey.
form,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it will prevent you from being able to do that thing as a result.
Mm.
And I personally had a moment, and maybe this is TMI, but I had a moment where I did not go to the bathroom
Mhm.
for, it may have been a month.
Oh, oh, B, no, no. Wow.
Yes. And
Wow.
so, like, and there were a lot of things that I was in conflict
Yeah.
with at that
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
it's just an example of, like, yeah, things, your body knows what you're thinking. Your body knows
Yeah.
what you're feeling.
It's the scorekeeper. It just it's funny, I'm having this conversation daily now, and not
Mhm.
just I'm talking with my girlfriends, like, it's not, like, just 'cause of the work I do,
Mhm.
is how and I see it in myself, and like what you're saying, when you start correlating all the things going on in your life, you start seeing why the body's not releasing or why it's holding or why it's,
Mhm.
responding in all these ways to protect you because it's like, "You got too much stuff. I need to, like, hold on to stuff."
Mhm.
Whereas if we're always releasing, the body will normalize that and allow itself to release. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
powerful. Very.
Uh,
So oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, just you saying that just triggered, like, yes, as a part of that, yeah, follow your gut, sure. But also, like, let stuff go.
Yeah.
Do that. Don't sit and harp on what coulda, shoulda, woulda. Just do. You're spending that energy on things that are not going to propel you forward. It's
Right,
okay to reflect and understand, like, what, maybe you could do it, learn from it. Maybe you could do it better,
right.
and but you continue to put that energy into what's coming, not what has
Not what
happened.
has happened. Absolutely. Good tips. Very good tips. Okay, my last question for you.
Hmm.
What and we didn't have but 5 minutes to talk, but what is something you wish I would have asked you, or what is something you just really want people to know about you?
Um. Ooh.
I know.
What What do you want to know about me? Let's see. What should people know
Or
about
things
me?
or things that people, like, maybe would be surprised to know about you.
Um. Yeah, I can't think of one thing that people would be surprised. I mean, I will say this. I am very random.
Okay. That was
I
random. Well, what do you
Yes, I can be very random, and where I think, and maybe this is a creative thing, where we have a lot of gifts and talents and interests,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of noise that comes in and out, and, like, the red shiny ball keeps popping up into view. You're like, oh, I want to, oh, that's
Right,
fun,
right.
oh,
The squirrel. I just told somebody, I have these squirrels in my backyard. I'm like, "God, I relate to them so much." Chicka, 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 chicka. Wait, chicka, chicka, chicka. Wait, chicka, chicka, chicka. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so you know, I think, it's important for us to learn how to resist the temptation. And
Girl, so I'm literally this weekend no, this is no joke that you're saying this. I am going to the 5 and under store. What's it called? Five Below? Because I'm gonna go buy me some new journals to put my squirrel brain. Literally. So I'm like, okay, to when Kenya, when you're like this, just go write it down, get it out your brain, close the
right,
book.
right,
Come back to it, after you've processed. Don't just go now and start the next new business or whatever. Like just yeah. So I relate. I relate
yeah,
3,000,000%.
that's it's tough. It's tough, and just I think, people may hear lots of different sounds from me because I have an eclectic um, archive of experiences. and
Yeah.
interests.
Yes.
So
But
yeah, I
I
mean, I
think that's what makes it interesting as artists. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have just loved this. I appreciate you so much for again taking the time out of your schedule, out of the mental energy of I know what, I've released many songs and I know that it can be a lot going on. Obviously, your most number, most added songs, so you're going to be getting even more and more attention. So I appreciate you putting me in the zone, in the space, to share this time with you. So thank you
Thank
again.
you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, all right, those who are watching our Patreon, we're going to end our broadcast in a moment. B, you can stay right there, but we'll be back next week with another guest, and we appreciate everybody for watching. All right, bye.